Hello, hello, welcome back. We are about to start our next run with Metroid Dread, ran by Hobbit. We got a few donations, I just want to acknowledge those. We got a $20, thank you very much, a $15 as well. Yeah, we're making good progress here. Let's keep it coming, guys. And without further ado, I will hand it over to Hobbit.
Alright, we good to go? Alright, cool. So, alright, we got some Metroid Dread here. I'm joined here by my dear friend, Manajor. He drove down here from Maryland to be part of the true North Carolina experience. But we're going to be running some any percent NPS. So, the timer will start when I hit continue. So as long as the beer is ready, we're going to go ahead and get going.
Alright.
Oh. Yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were doing a countdown or not.
No, it's okay. Are you good? Are we fine? Okay. As long as we're good, that's fine. You know, the countdown is really the main thing I always forget when I start because I'm just ready to go, man. But Manny, I'll let you kind of do the introduction here before we get into the crazy stuff.
Yep. Right. So the first several minutes of this run is just a lot of like basic movement fundamentals to the first area of this game, Altaria. As you can see, Hobbit employs a lot of like basic movement, like quick rises. You can buffer the jump button so Samus doesn't do like a slow mantle, just does a very quick hop to the ledge. So right here we're gonna go through the first tutorial, the melee tutorial, which will be very relevant later on down the line. You see right here some more ledge to ledge and being able to automatically aim and shoot. So right over here we're coming into the first pseudo where we want to skip 50 seconds with the broken Emmy by simply just having Samus shoot through the wall called pseudos, basically just do like a slide and dash. And there's going to be one more pseudo over here we call the seam pseudo setup where you can like clip missiles through the wall with a very precise setup that Hobbit is doing with a pause buffer method. And just like that, the pseudo's done and Hobbit will be able to get to the first boss of the game, Corpius.
But actually, this is kind of going to turn it on its head a little. There is some stuff we need to do before we kill Corpius. The main reason we're here is because if you quit out to checkpoint, that brings the melee tutorial cutscene back. So if you really liked that cutscene, we're about to watch it a couple more times later in the run.
Yep. So for right now, Corpius will be fought a bit later, but right now, Hobbit's going to take a little bit of a detour and do another important trick setup called the Emmy Boost. So Hobbit is going to lure the enemy up to the ceiling and use its hitbox to reach up that top ledge over there. He's going to jump over, wait for the enemy to crawl to the ceiling, and then do a series of wall kicks and try to have Samus hit the enemy's head on the top to get to that ledge. Just like that. Very nice, first try. So that parry is actually required because the enemy is in a unique first state when you encounter, which means the doors will not be open until you parry the enemy or you go through the intended way, which we are not doing.
Right, so basically, because it's like you said, it's the tutorial, so the only ways out are to parry or to go to the intended location. However, by doing that parry there, it allows us to just continue on to charge beam and essentially cut out an entire loop of going around Altaria, which makes this like a minute faster compared to normal.
Considerably.
So now we're kind of back to normal for a little bit. That trick is really stressful, so I'm glad I got through it really fast because it's not easy, and hitting that parry is not easy either. There are 3 potential timings for that first parry, and then 3 more timings for the follow-up if you miss. You either get an instant one like that, a kind of a mid-range one that you can't really react to, and then a longer one that you can react to. So I'm glad I got the instant because sometimes I just kind of feel it and I go for it and I get it. And as you say there, the melee tutorial cutscene came back. It's not supposed to do that, but we are going to need it later, so we're going to have to quit out a Corpius one more time, or as we like to say, we have to pet the dog.
Yeah.
But fortunately, Corpius is a pretty basic boss here. So we're just going to walk in. We're going to see the cutscene again. We're going to quit out to checkpoint. And then we're just going to go right back in this time because this is actually where we need to go. Corpius, super simple. I'll let Manny cover this while I'm aiming because I have to focus.
Yeah. Yeah. Corpius is a pretty straightforward boss. You just pretty much pay attention to where Corpius moves his head. Every time he gets hit by a missile, he'll shift his head to one of 3 different positions. And even when Corpius turns to cloak mode, his head is still vulnerable as long as you know where the head is. So Hobbit is just going to pump missiles into Corpius' head and also do some quick charge shots in order to damage Corpius. So normally with 30 Corpius takes 26 missiles to die in the second phase, but if you miss too many missiles, you have to either defeat him with quick charge shots or just attack the tail and finish it off with after a missile refill. But overall, that was a pretty quick Corpius death. Normally we face Corpius after we have Spider Magnet, as you see by the Spider Magnet on the wall, but this is not a glitchless run, so we're just doing things out of order, and it will be a lot faster to get Spider Magnet last before leaving Altaria.
Yep, and I guess now since we're doing basically just a lot of basic movement to open up the magma switches, which actually gate progress in Altaria to get to the Emmy. This category is called No Persistent Skew, and you're probably like, what in the world does that mean? Well, in Metroid Dread, because it is secretly a 3D game, there's a trick that allows you to rotate along Samus's Z-axis whenever you want. It requires some items we don't have yet in order to do, but the entire basis of this category is that you're not allowed to do that. Everything else is fair game, but you are not allowed to use that skew state glitch. So if you've seen my run from last year, that run, all bosses unrestricted, makes heavy use of that trick once you get to the mid-game. But in this one, we are allowed to use any skews that basically you lose immediately after use. But if you try to use the persistent skew, that is against the rules. The main difference between the two is that skew state can carry between files, which opens up an even bigger can of worms, but I'll keep it short for now. So this kind of preserves some history of Metroid Dread, which I think is really interesting, because this mirrors very heavily an old unrestricted route from like 2022, 2023, which I think is a really cool opportunity to kind of capture that snapshot, because it's a really cool route, and getting to blend kind of the old with the new is really fun in my opinion. Something else you might have noticed is that I've only talked to Adam twice at this point. Because of the routing that we gain access to from doing that Emmy boost, we actually break the Atom sequence in Altaria, which means that all future atoms will not turn on whenever we get to them. But yeah, that's just going to save us a little bit of time later, but now we've got to fight the Emmy, who we just kind of blast in the face. That's really it. It's very simple.
Yeah, normally in other categories, we do break Atom logic by doing a specific skip in the next area category called the Atom skip. But in this category, because we already broke Atom logic, we'll not even be doing that skip at all.
Yep, and technically you can do that skip in any category except for glitchless. The trick itself is not a glitch, but because the door that you go through to get into there locks, locks after you do the trick, Glitchless has no way to get through there. So unfortunately, Glitchless kind of has to play the old classic Altaria compared to NMG, NPS, and UR. So I think that's kind of a little interesting differentiator. That even though the trick is, I'm gonna do something kind of silly here for a second. Oop, give me a second. I missed it. So if you grab that magnet door while it's falling, you actually turn Samus upside down. It looks really funny, and it's one of my favorite, silly, not really useful tricks to do, and whenever I have kind of a marathon type thing going on, I like to throw in something that doesn't really cost too much time, but is good for a laugh.
Yep, and coming right up here is a setup called the Elevator D-Boost. Normally you have to take the Spider Magnet from the left and right all the way through. With a very precise setup, Habe will just trick this fly enemy to just push Samus to the right, and you just save around 7 to 8 seconds by not having to ride the magnet.
Yep, and I definitely forgot to open the door on the other side of that room, but we're going to have to backtrack through there much later. So having those charge doors open just saves a little bit of grief for me.
Yeah.
It's not really a big deal, not like any kind of run-ender or anything, but I'll have to remember to charge shot that second door on the way through.
Yep.
And now we enter the casino. Cataris is a pretty notorious region and unrestricted for the way that we have to get morph ball using a trick called the Emmy Warp. I will be covering that in a few minutes, but other than that, it basically allows us to skip a large part of Cataris. And there we see Adam. He's turned off. He's asleep because we broke his sequence. That bus is still in Artaria. But we're just gonna do a couple of these, like just some basic movement, a couple of damage boosts, that kind of thing to kind of get around the enemies faster. Because that guy wants me. He wants to get me, and I don't want that.
And this specific damage boost here skips a cycle having to wait for that spider magnet to go down. Normally you're supposed to wait for get the fly to push you towards the magnet as it's falling down, but if you mess that setup there, then you would just have to wait for the magnet to come down and ride back up.
Oh, yeah, that is the most awkward wall in the game. Like, it doesn't matter if you have 1,000 hours in this game, you will fumble on that wall at some point. It's just the only wall that's really shaped like that in the game.
Yep.
And it's just really easy to trip up a little bit.
And just some basic movement here through an unintentional hell run just to save a bit of time. And here, Hobbit will be doing another seam pseudo setup with some missile clips, very precise. Just has to shoot that blob 4 different times.
One. There's 2. 3. I got a little out of position, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do it again. Since this is so finicky, like, it is very helpful to reset your position if you get out. It's pretty quick and really doesn't really carry much risk. The only thing is that the Emmy can decide to come in and just ruin your day, in which case you kind of just reset the checkpoint and try again.
Yeah.
But in non-Emmy Warp categories, you actually very rarely go to this region of Cataris. Yeah. It was routed out a long time ago by Adam Skip. Let's see.
Oh, nice!
Yo, let's go!
That is a very particular deboost setup that is not easy to do since it also requires Phantom Cloak, but Hobbit got it first try.
Yeah, that's a pretty uncommon one. I like to try to go for it, but I don't always get it. But now here we are at the site of the Prodigal Son Emmy Warp. So that Emmy, you see how he's up in that room up to the top right? We want to get that. It is where we want to go. So what we're gonna do is we tag the door on the way in, and if we walk through a load zone, the Emmy will go somewhere else. So if we run into the Emmy in the load zone, we'll go with it. So we are just gonna 3, 4. And then wait for the Emmy to come back. And then once its vision cone turns red, we can run into the door. This game loves me. Nice.
Very nice. So there was 1 of 3 places you could get warped to, so Hobbit had a 1 in 3 chance of getting to where he needed to be, and he got it first try.
Yeah, this game is being very nice to me right now. That is a very frustrating trick. If you saw my run the last speedrunning at NC, it was a little bit more dramatic, but yeah. Because you break the camera, it allows you to pause during kind of the Emmy capture cutscene. Which allows you to essentially pause buffer that Emmy parry, because the pause does not get disabled until the parry window of the Emmy reopens. And then we just kind of fight the Emmy. This Emmy's a super big pushover. We just kind of look at him. You might notice that the screen looks incomprehensible. That's because I'm using my turbo controller to consistently click the shoot button on my Omega Stream, because the first shot of Omega Stream actually does a little bit more damage than just holding Y. So you can eke out a little bit faster kills by mashing through it or using turbo. That's a really big thing in the Dread community. We allow turbo controllers as an accessibility feature. They're limited at the hertz that they're allowed to provide. Whereas if you choose to mash, you can go all the way up to, I've seen 25, 26 hertz before. It's absolutely crazy. But it basically allows runners to play the game without risking their health. That's something that's very important to me as a leader in the community. I want to make sure my players can play the game for as long as they want, however they want. So, you know, it's a really big focal point, and it's something I like to bring up because it's very, very clear in the gameplay where that magic is used.
Yeah, specifically we have ruling to allow turbo controls up to 21 Hz, which encompasses pretty much the vast majority of available turbo controllers. So you can take the turbo controller of your choice and you'll be able to run the game following the rules.
Yeah, and we have a really, really robust database of controllers, thanks to the absolutely wonderful Jaina. She has put together a whole bunch of data along with some other folks on our wiki to compile the best controller information that we can find. Understanding and availability of controllers is always changing, so it's a really, really important resource for Dread. And as far as I understand, some other communities have looked into it too, just because, you know, controllers can be expensive, and you need to find a budget option sometimes. Oh, I unmorphed too late. But if you unmorph while walking over a ledge underwater, you actually get a little momentum boost called a morph boost. Which makes water navigation without gravity a little bit easier, but, you know.
So Hobbit's on the way to get the Barrier Suit, which is pretty standard for all categories, but in this category, in other categories we normally have Wide Beam ahead of time, but this whole section right now, Hobbit's just going to do without Wide Beam, which makes a few of the shots a little bit more precise, but, you know, it still doesn't really impact the route as a whole.
Yeah, one thing that is interesting is that, you know, because you don't have Wide Beam, and our destination is essentially get there and go to Kraid, we'll actually be able to see diffusion without Wide Beam. So it's just like a single pea shooter diffusion, which is not normally obtainable in vanilla. It doesn't look strange or anything, but I do think it's kind of interesting to get the beams out of order.
Yeah.
And then here we've got the various suit, or as I like to call them, the orange pajamas. You know, Samus, she might be ready to go to bed after this. I mean, she's running around, shooting, jumping, you know. She's going to need to go to bed. So she's got her orange pajamas on now.
Yeah. And considering the long wait time between the teleporters and other transports, you know, gotta get some sleep out some time.
Yep, and then we're just going to take this red teleportal back, and we will be able to go visit my least favorite guy. Now, is it unbelievably sick that they put Kraid in Metroid Dread? Without a doubt. He looks great, the fight is good for a casual playthrough, and it has the really cool bomb kill that you can do if you decide to go get bombs first. But in a speedrun, he loves to waste my time. So me and Kraid, we're on thin ice. You know, it's kind of a tenuous relationship between me and him. But we're gonna go make our way to him and see what we get.
Yeah. It is truly unfortunate that the very cool secret break that Hobbit just mentioned is just too slow to get bombs early and then go fight Kraid.
I would absolutely love to be able to do the bomb kill in regular speedruns, but yeah, I mean, you gotta go all the way to Dairon, all the way back. Like, it's a really neat piece of like sequence breaking casually for sure, and I highly recommend anyone who's interested in playing this game casually, like, give all the dev intended sequence breaks a try, because like, there's some really good ones, and it shakes up the game a little bit, which I think is good.
And we have a category extension called Broken 16% that focuses on dev intended sequence breaks, which is required for that category. So if you wanted to have fun with that, you can run that category instead.
Yep. So here we're gonna hope that Kraid decides he wants to throw his manicure at us, and it seems like today we are lucky. So not for a long time, but lucky for at least enough.
All right. And right here, Hobbit is doing a series of single wall jumps in order to get to the magnet and not have to shoot Kraid's belly button instead.
Yep, and that can be a pretty particular input there. You have to wall jump while holding neutral and then immediately morph. So so it can be really easy to accidentally morph before you wall jump. Okay, great. Cool, man. See, there he is. He's wasting my time. I just need him to yell at me, but he wants to smack me. So I've got plenty of resources, but man, that's time I'll never get back.
And if you're not careful enough, you might accidentally trigger the cinematic parry sequence of Kraid, and that takes a long time, and also damage is reduced during all those parry sequences.
Yeah, that's one thing about Dread that is kind of unfortunate. They made all these super sick counter animations, and like, they're just not that, they're not very useful for most of the bosses, because your damage is mostly reduced during those cutscenes. There are a couple ones like Dragiga or like, Ravenbeak where they can be useful depending on the way you're fighting him, but for the most part you're going to be avoiding those. But fortunately you can jump cancel them essentially, where if you hit the melee and then jump away, it won't work. Like you may have seen me do that during Corpius. And then with Kraid, if you aim away after he smacks you, he will not go into the cutscene.
Alright. And now we're back. We're in Dyron for the very first time. Normally we get to Dyron a lot earlier to get Wide Beam to kill the green enemy, but now finally after Kraid we're going to triple our beam output finally. So, helping Ravenbeak deal with his electricity bill by turning on one of 2 generators in this game.
Yeah, I just really want him to have to pay his bills, so I'm going to turn these on so I can grab Wide Beam and continue in Dyron, but he won't be too happy about it. One thing that is important to note here, because of the routing we took, we actually never see the yellow Emmy first encounter cutscene. So that means when we get to the Emmy zone, he's just going to be gone. He's taking a nap.
He's worked too hard patrolling the area. He just needs to just take a nice good nap for most of the game.
Yeah.
Because normally after getting the Wide Beam, you're forced to get to the Emmy zone where you encounter yellow Emmy for the first time. But we completely avoid that trigger because of this routing, and now instead we're going to activate the second generator of the game and not have to worry about yellow Emmy for its entirety. Normally, the yellow Emmy could spawn right on the top platform over there, which would cause some complications as Hobbit needs to take the long way to get out of the Emmy zone, but with the Emmy gone, it's just a very simple platforming section to just get through.
Yep. And then, where we're going here, we're going into the back room, or the second dark room here, and we can actually take a little shortcut here by shooting missiles through this wall. It can be a little tricky, but if you hit it the right angle.
Yep.
Nope. There's 1, 2, 3.
Nice! 3 consecutive hits. Let's go.
Wow, that was really good, actually. Yeah, that's a really, really finicky angle. You kind of have to shoot at the lowest angle possible for the missiles to still go through the wall, because unlike beams, missiles cannot go through walls with a double turnaround like that if you're shooting horizontally. The entity of the missile will hit the wall. So basically, like, something interesting that we've noticed with missiles is that when you shoot them through walls, they can actually hit things that are off screen. So that means you can break some blobs. There's another place you use it in All Bosses Unrestricted, but that's kind of like the main universal application that's in most categories. And that basically just cuts out a little navigation section through a big dark room on the other side of this that turns into a freezer later, but or once you turn the light on, but we don't need that. We can just keep going.
Alright, for a good chunk of the while, the rest of the ride is going to be very similar to other categories where now with bombs we're able to get down to the transport to Verania to get flashes and then come back to Dyron to deal with yellow Emmy finally.
Yep. And a small detail you might notice, I'm not really, there's certain like 1 tile tall areas I'm not sliding into. And that's because if there's ever an item hint near you and you slide in, you get the item cutscene. Oh, I'm not a golfer.
Unfortunate.
It happens. But that wastes some time, and you don't need to get it. So I will try to avoid it wherever possible. But as I mentioned, golf. That room is known as the Dyron Golf Course. If you can drop into that little morph ball tunnel while falling, and that's called a hole-in-one. So we kind of joke that that's the golf course, and if you get a hole-in-one, then you're a true golfer. And if you get you're a golfer, and if you get it in every single instance that you go through that room in a run, you're a true golfer. Unfortunately, in NPS, we only go through there once, so I am not a true golfer. I am just a golfer.
Truly unfortunate. Other categories are either 2 or 3 times that you can pass through that room. So if you fail the first time, you get another opportunity. Alright, so in Brania, because we do not get grapple early in this category, Hobbit will have to take the more scenic route. As you can see, all the sea creatures banging on the windows, and these creatures giving Samus a bit of a vertical boost.
Oh, I get it. The scenic route.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying.
Yeah, I didn't want to water down your joke.
Yeah.
My bad. Alright, so now that we're done making a splash, we're just going to keep going here in Brenia. The next trick coming up here, we're pacing to go get flash. Oopsies. Yep. Accidentally hit morph wall, not holding the control stick.
Well, normally without grapple beam, you have to go down to the very bottom of this room through the very long underwater section to maneuver your way to flash it. But with a very specific bomb setup, as Hobbit will show very soon, you can just backdoor the flash shift room with a very well-timed inputs of bombs.
I'm gonna try that again. Oh, I accidentally closed the door, but yeah, that gets us into flash shift. Normally you would try to land kind of where the actual lock is and then jump through, so that way you don't close the door on the way out. But, you know, stuff happens sometimes, so we're just going to wait for the door to open.
Yeah, there have been many setups for backdoor flash, and the one Hobbit did is pretty consistent, and you can generally have an idea of how many bombs you lay and how long Samus is in the air before the door opens.
Yeah, with that specific setup, if you lay 7 bombs, after the 7th bomb, the door will open, which is why I stopped laying bombs and just, like, knew that the door... Okay.
Yep.
There we go.
We'll just do 2 underwater pseudos with using pause buffers to destroy the 2 blobs below, so Samus doesn't need to drop all the way down to shoot them. Quickly. And here, Hobbit is going to do what's called an underwater bomb jump. You lay a bomb and unmorph, and then you preserve the underwater state. Where if you lay another bomb midair, Samus will get the full height bounce versus not getting it. So Hobbit was able to clear that gap pretty easily.
Yep. And now that we have the flash shift, I'm going to be looking for any opportunity to chain flash shifts together to try to get from point A to point B as fast as possible. It's a really, really cool and efficient means of moving, and I'm really glad they finally put a dashing ability in Metroid because it's an ability type that Metroid definitely needed.
Yeah. With a lot of room that are long corridors, and even, especially before you get the speed booster, you want to be able to move from place to place pretty quickly, and flash shift is a very consistent way of getting across. And as Hobbit mentioned, you can also do specific flash change. You can flash shift up to 3 different times, and you can put actions in between each of those flashes, so you can optimize your movement. You can turn around, do wall jumps and everything, so Samus can make the most use of flash shift to go through each room quickly. And here is the central unit for the yellow enemy. So Hobbit is doing a setup what's known as Charlie, which is charge missile. By shooting a charge beam and then following right up with a missile, you optimize your DPS to destroy the plating of the central unit quickly.
And then now we just got to fight the yellow enemy real quick. The yellow enemy is a bit of a problem in speed running most of the time when you don't have to do enemy warp and literally despawn it. But the fight itself is actually super easy. So if you're playing the game casually and you need some help on yellow enemy, literally just look at it. That's all you got to do.
Yep. This is definitely you should try this at home. You just aim at the ceiling and just shoot.
And even with like regular Omega Stream, you barely, like, it dies before it barely comes out of the end event, so.
Yeah.
And now we got Speed Booster. You like Speed Booster.
I do like Speed Booster. Well, as you can see right here, the optimization with Speed Booster in Dread is very clean. You can slide through tunnels while speed boosting. You can do wall jumps and preserve your Speed Booster. You can morph and unmorph in between, just like that. So I assume many of you watching is aware of this movie called Morbius. Morbius is a very low tier movie, but it has introduced a very popular meme, and as we like to call in the community, it's Morbid time.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe you led that in with Morbius. That's so funny.
We gotta have understand the cultural impact of such a movie.
Yeah, that's true. So if you ever wonder what the cultural impact of Morbius is, it's that it made an inside joke in Metroid Dread speedrunning.
Okay. Yep, every time you do a Morph Shine Spark, it is called a Morbid time. So Hobbit deliberately morphed and flashed rather than slide and flash, because if a slide would trigger the item tutorial that Hobbit is trying to still avoid.
Yep, and you won't fall if you do that. You just waste some time. So basically, we're just trying to avoid losing time that we don't need to.
Exactly.
Granted, if it happens once, obviously it's not that big of a deal, but the tutorial goes away, or the pop-up goes away if you do it once.
Yes.
So some people do choose to just take it so they don't have to worry about it later. But the movement difference is pretty minimal, so if you can choose to not take it, it's ideal.
Alright, and with hopping in the grapple beam, we're going to come into one of the core tricks of this category called the camera lock. So you might remember the 2 times before we reset Morbius to re-trigger the melee tutorial cutscene, and Habe is going to use that to put the camera in place. So the idea is, if you destroy that enemy and then trigger the cutscene by sliding in the tunnel, by doing the parry, that enemy will immediately get deloaded and the camera will be locked in place. But Samus has full complete movement, which basically deloads all soft objects like blocks, doors, enemies, and even environmental stuff like water, which will let Hobbit get to a place that you're not normally intended to do. So in this room here, Hobbit is just gonna drop all the way down, destroy this enemy here as that's the melee tutorial, and then do the parry, and then camera lock will begin.
I hope you like 2 bugs on a rock, because you're about to spend a couple minutes with them. 5, 6, 7. Nope, went too early. Oh, okay, didn't speed charge apparently. Controller, please. Nope, going early again. Spend too much time guessing instead of reacting. Oh my god, my controller is not liking my stick presses. Again. I'm just jumping too early. I gotta lock in for a second. Come on now. Controller, please. Oh my gosh, my stick clicks are not behaving at the moment. Okay. Going too early. Alright, we're on the platform we need to be on, so we'll just go over here. go. Oh, okay. That's okay, we'll just climb back up this room here. I understand you can't see anything, but I know exactly where I am right now, fortunately. Okay. I'm in a place that I really don't want to be in right now. Where am I? Oh, I know where I am now. Apologies, folks. I got lost a little bit for a second there, but that's okay. My flash shift is being real sticky right now. I apologize. As you can see, blind navigation is not always fun. There we go. Oh my gosh. That was a bit of a slog, but we have navigated all the way across the bottom of Artaria into the Berenia Artaria elevator, which will actually freeze ZDR regardless of the direction that you go through it. So basically, this allows us to access frozen ZDR before we've released the X. And the big benefit of going to do this, even though we have to fight an additional boss by doing this, is that we can actually skip pretty much the entire back half of the second visits to Dairon, Berenia, and the first visit to Gabaran. So this basically cuts out an entire 20-minute segment, which is absolutely wild. But as a result, we get to go through Frozen Artaria, and we need to make one quick stop at Screw Attack on the way in.
Normally you get Screw Attack after fighting Z57, but the whole idea is you want to get that as soon as you can.
Yep, so we're going to go ahead and actually show off a aim down clip here. This is a means of clipping through floors that makes use of a flash slide in combination with a turnaround and activating speed booster in order to put yourself in a state where you can actually sink into the ground. And then if you click free aim and tap down, Samus will begin falling through the floor. And then as you notice, I shot the grapple beam. This game, unfortunately, does not want you to be out of bounds. So what you can do in order to stave that off temporarily is you can just shoot the grapple beam, because for some reason when grapple is out, the out of bounds kill plane check is actually disabled. So we can make use of that to go through some floors up to 2 tiles deep, technically 3 with map lag, but oh, okay. I'll just flash shift through this area and then start the speed charge over here.
Yeah, what note, there's another version of Shine Sync Clip which lets you clip through only 1 tile of floor, but the aim down clip lets you go up to 2 or 3. Yeah,
the Shine Sync is kind of the original version of the trick that was found first. ADC was found a little bit later on, but they can be used interchangeably on 1 tile floors for the most part. But ADC works in pretty much every place that a Shine Sync wouldn't, or every place that a Shine Sync would, in addition to being able to clip some larger floors. So it's kind of just like a more powerful version of the tool. So Frozen Artaria is mostly just kind of a movement showcase at this point. We call it the Frozen, the Speedway. Because there's a couple speed keeps. I missed one, unfortunately, but that's okay. And then we're going to use that Spark Bounce there to get up here, because we don't have any jump upgrades. So we wouldn't be able to just true keep all the way up to this elevator Instead, we can use that the collision with the ball spark into the wall to do that big jump, which allows us to get to the top of the room to flash over. And now we go to Frozen Cataracts, where we have to encounter we get to encounter our favorite guy, Z57.
Yeah. Yeah, Z57 is the cause of this current ice age. But as you'll see, Hobbit will have a good reward for Z57 once the fight starts. A very quick one too, I'd say.
Yeah. So during the Z57 load-in, you can actually hold a charge beam, like during the load-in, and if you shoot a partial charge shot, it will actually cause Samus to skew and face towards the screen. And as long as you keep that skew into a place where you have enough time to charge the speed booster, you can basically just one-shot Z57 with Shine Spark. So we're gonna see what we can do here. Use that flash hip to delay us in the air, and that allows us to get the speed charge. We just dodge this attack, come over here to the middle, and bang.
There.
Smack cam. And now he's dead.
Yep, Z57 is one of the few bosses in the game that takes full 100% damage from the Shine Spark. Other bosses will only take 50%, but Z57 is an exception, as there is a dev-intended Shine Spark that you can insta-defeat Z57, but that will happen much later in the fight, and we want to skip all of that.
Yeah, and we're pretty underpowered right now in terms of kit. We only have wide beam and regular missiles, whereas you're intended to fight him with storm missiles, ice missiles, and plasma beam.
Yeah.
So we need as much help as we can get to fight the boss, so speed booster is just the perfect recipe for disaster for Z57. Unfortunately for him. There are other ways to hit Shine Sparks on Z57 without without the intended cutscene, but they require tricks that are not allowed in NPS. So thankfully, that is kind of like the method that was found right around the time that this route was the unrestricted route. Oh, I did shoot that door. Let's go. So we're just going to do a little speed booster here, get around real quick. Yep. And then we're going to do a really long ball spark here. It's Morbin time.
It's Morbin time.
Oops. And then we're just going to make our way back, actually just back to the screw tag room, basically. Oopsies.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Yep. Interestingly enough, this is like part of the routing in the slower any % NMG route where you get space jump and then screw attack early, but in this case the context is different as we already cleared the Frozen Altaria, and now our primary goal is to get back to Berenia.
Yep, because Berenia has a teleportal that accesses straight to Gabaran in the later part of the area, so we basically can shortcut past everything by taking this pathway. One little trick there, you might have seen me do it a couple times when I was doing charge missiles, is that if Samus's charge beam is interrupted by... Oh, nice, I had flash change. If Samus's charge beam animation is interrupted by a turnaround or a spin, you will actually instantly fully charge. That allows you to shoot charge shots a lot faster. It is the fundamental trick that allows you to do charge missiles quickly, and it allows us to pop blobs like that pretty quickly with the fusion. Since most blobs need one shot in order to become like able to be popped in one charge shot, so you go 1, 2, and then the blob is gone. And now we have to do probably the hardest ADC in the run here. This water actually is a bit of a pain. It makes you fall slower when you're trying to clip through. There we go, first try. And God blobs. Oh my God, no way!
Wait, this is your first time getting God?
This is the second time I've ever gotten that. That's the first time in a run, though.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So yeah, if diffusion patterns work out correctly, you actually get the blobs in their poppable state when you're going down in a gravity pool. So I got lucky, and that's called God blobs.
Getting one of them to immediately pop are called demigod blobs, but it's more common to get demigod blobs than god blobs of how precise it has to be.
All right, so now we're basically just going to be heading back to Berenia, so we're going to get some assistance here from Speed Booster. Going to grab this missile tank, even though we don't really need it. You can skip it, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. And then we're just going to go fight these robots. And like I said before, we're kind of underpowered right now. We don't have Plasma Beam, but we have Screw Attack, which is a pretty good secondary. We're pretty much just going to be rolling our face into these guys. Really funny animation we got there.
And because of invincibility flame, you can damage about 2 times before you take damage again. So you don't lose as much damage as one might think.
Yeah, this guy is in a very troll position. So unfortunately for me, you know, a bit of an uphill battle on that one, but it'll work. Oops, jumped too early. And now we are on our way to Gabaran. We're gonna make one little stop off here to grab Spin Boost. It just kind of makes things a little bit easier in terms of movement later on. Navigating without a jump upgrade can definitely cost you some time. In terms of it is pretty uncomfortable. So just to kind of make this a little smoother, we're gonna go ahead and grab it. But first we gotta get through the load screen. Alrighty, so we're just gonna take our little pit stop into here. There's Spin Boost, and then we're going to just kind of leave. Fortunately, we don't have to cross through the room where the Jungle Chozo is, so we will not have to worry about any extra boss fights. We're actually going straight to Golzuna's room. But you may notice the X aren't here. We've not been to Elon at all. So how are we gonna get through there?
Yeah, if you try to go to the room normally and try to fight Golzuna, you will be soft locked because Golzuna will not show up because Golzuna is an X boss. So there was a way to circumvent that. By going through this room unintended by a clip, you do not go you do not activate the event trigger to close the doors and start the boss fight, which does not exist. So Harvard just skips that entirely.
Yep, and because I don't have cross bombs, that means I'm gonna have to get across these collapsible blocks manually, basically. So what we can do is break 2 and then basically just jump across. Since we have Spin Boost, that makes this much easier. You can do it with just Flash Shift, but it's a lot more finicky. So I definitely prefer having that extra jump upgrade here.
Yep, the Golzuna Tower is very infamous because those crumble blocks work a bit differently from other crumble block setups because this is designed to be a tutorial for cross bombs, and they make it a lot easier for you to fall through without them.
Yeah, those ones specifically are also pretty tough. There are other cases where you can do cross bomb skips like that that are a lot easier, but for some reason those ones really just do not want you to cross them. And now we're going to take our quick little pit stop into Nubia. We're going to see our friends, the gold and red Chozos, the elite and Chozo soldier in the background here. But we're just running. We're running. We're just trying to get through here.
Yeah.
And here we'll be able to. Oops! I accidentally lost my speed chart, so I'm just going to kill this guy and come back. We can take a little shortcut here. We don't have cross bombs, so bombing that row of bomb blocks is really slow. So we just clip on through. Easy peasy. And then we can do a similar double turnaround pseudo that we did to get the backdoor generator pseudo in order to grab that grapple block and navigate through the room just a little bit faster. And now we're on to Perennia, and this is actually where a new trick is going to be used here. It's called the Storm Skip. We'll be able to make use of a mechanic called Tilt, where Samus's x-axis is displaced a little bit.
Yep, the normal axis pretty much by interacting with a ceiling spider magnet, as you see.
Yep, so we're basically just going to route our way through here and go towards basically towards where SQ would be. Even though SQ is an X boss, he does still spawn without the X here. But fortunately, we do not have to fight him, so we're not going to. So we're just going to speed through here. Little Shine Spark action. Bam, bam.
Yep, and because the X has not been released, Purple Emmy is nowhere to be seen.
Yep, because Quiet Robe is the one who activates both the purple and the blue Emmy, if we had gone to either the blue Emmy zone or this one, he's just not here taking a nap.
Yeah.
He's very sleepy. All right, so here I'm gonna grab this, and you may notice I'm shooting at an angle now, and it looks like Samus might have to go to the bathroom. So we're just gonna go and basically use the fact that we're tilted a little bit further back to shoot through this wall. You can see here I'm hitting the other side of this door, and then we just need to load the door by flash shifting into the other room so that the beam will hit the actual door shield. Oh, that was a good attempt.
Yep. There will be a distinct audio sound once hop across the room if the door is successfully opened.
Okay. This one can be real finicky, so that's why I had a lot of time built into my estimate here. But we will lock in. Nope. Got caught on the lip. That's okay. Fortunately, it's pretty easy to just kind of retry over and over again. Not quite. I still have not heard the door sound. Ooh, that was a good attempt too. I think I was just a little slow on the flash. There we go.
You hear that little click, that means the door's open.
And now we can go. This basically skips the one hard lock for storm missiles in the cold room. So even though we do have gravity and would be able to survive in the cold, we do not have storm missiles from not fighting SQ. So we can just go ahead and skip right by. And because we have spin boost, that makes the movement in this room a little bit easier, so that way we can kind of just jump our way to victory.
Yep. And with speed booster, we trivialize the plated phase of the central unit and just shred it to pieces. And
And during that recoil animation that the brain has, very mother brain-like, you can actually, it lowers its hurt box just a little bit, so you can do one single jump to get up there, and then kind of ping off it and hit it when it becomes vulnerable after the animation is over. And now we have the purple Emmy finally. He's awake.
Yeah.
It's awake. It's here. It's coming to see me. It wants to give me a really big hug. So we're just gonna kind of look it in the face, shoot it, and then blast its face off. It looks really stressful, but just trust me. It's fine.
Very, very clean. And there's a lot of like a leeway if you don't shoot off its faceplate in time, you can always just do a jump, a neutral jump, and then spin over, just so the purple Emmy will have to turn around, and you can finish it off that way.
Yeah, because fortunately the Emmy's turnaround animation when you're in battle is really, really slow. So Mercury's team kind of threw us a bone on that one. So you can either just plant on this top platform on the other side and kill it, or slide down into that little gap and get it.
Indeed.
But now we have almost all the upgrades that we're going to need for this run. We have one more, which is power bombs. That will give us access to Ravenbeak and the final area, Eaterash, which is pretty much just you go fight Ravenbeak there.
Yep, we're pretty much at the end game now, where primarily the rest of the run is going to be a lot of fighting and just some small movement from here to there.
There we go. Unfortunately, I was one shot short on breaking that blob quickly. That's okay, it happens. And then we're gonna make our way back to Hanubia, and here we will be fighting the red Chozo soldier in order to grab power bombs and make our way over to Ravenbeak. Yeah. So we are getting very, very close to the end here. I feel like I've kind of been flying through it outside of some small stumbling points, so feeling good about that. But we're just gonna kind of jump on through. These robots are in the way. That's okay, we'll just jump up there. We'll skip the cutscene of Samus awakening her Metroid powers finally, and then we will fight the boss. Now, because we only have Wave Beam and no missile upgrades, beams are our only option. We don't have cross bombs to supplant damage. We don't have better missiles. Like, it's just wave beam and regular missiles. So we will be laying into that shot button to the best of our ability to make quick work of these soldiers. Send them back home.
Yep. And normally when the soldiers have the shields out, you want to. If you had storm missiles, you would like charge up 3 storm blocks, and as soon as they release the shield, you'll hit them for maximum damage. But we skip storm missiles deliberately, so that is not an option.
Now we will grab the power bombs with 2 back-to-back cutscenes. Nice time to take a break, take a breather right before the end game tour. And this is gonna get us power bombs.
The great thing about these power bombs is that you can lay a power bomb before you leave a room and go to the next room, and the explosion will permeate throughout.
Yep. So we can make use of that here to drop a power bomb as soon as possible, and then make our way towards the platforming that we need to do. There we go. No power bomb scamming here. So the reason I waited so long there is because having the power bomb, oops, I missed dropping it. Having the power bomb, or getting your power bombs filled back up is necessary to break the second glass tube that's in this area. So we're just gonna grab that here. That is the penthouse keep, very nice. Now we fight the Golden Soldier. You see them doing some cool tricks in the background. He's going to come say hi to us. Now this soldier, he's a real meanie. He does additional % health damage on top of his regular damage from hitting you. So we do not want to get hit because he might just kill us in 1 hit. But fortunately, his attack patterns are pretty easy to dodge, and we can kind of just lay into him with wave beam.
It is always amazing how much more powerful the Gold Soldier is over Raven Beak's, most of Raven Beak's attacks. And again, it is an X-controlled creature, so it makes sense that X are very powerful.
Yeah, exactly. And now, all that's left is the final boss. So we're gonna take this elevator up here to Iterash, and we're gonna go say hi to our bird dad. For those who don't know in lore, when Samus was a child, they took Chozo DNA and infused it with her human DNA, and that's why she's like super soldier, jumps really high, really strong, really fast, really tough. So Ravenbeak is he's our dad, and he's not very nice to us, so we're gonna do something about it.
Yeah, he's very duplicitous and masquerading as Adam that you talk to, or rather we skip most of the interactions, but that he pretended to be Adam and just lure Samus to where he wants her to go. And here is the final culmination of all his efforts.
Yep, so we're gonna go ahead and take this elevator here, and here is Ravenbeak. This fight, honestly, pretty cool. I like it a lot. There's a couple optimizations we have here. The first phase, unfortunately, we don't have cross bombs or missiles to make popping this energy barrier any easier. So we just want to get him into the red and get this red wave attack as soon as possible, where we can just parry and then shoot him with beams. And then you can sneak some damage in by flash shifting. It looks really funny, but I don't know if this... Yeah, okay, yeah. I was already at the wall, so I think he was too close for me to be able to truly make use of the left wall. But by being next to the wall here, you actually create a scenario where he cannot do his downward slam, which means he's more likely to do this Gatling attack, which we can just sit under. Unfortunately, sometimes he decides to do his big beam attack instead, or this side splat. But if we can get Gatlings, then we can basically just continuously damage him. Like this.
Yep, but all you have to do is just do a melee and a pre-aim to set up that specific setup.
And at this point, it's pretty much just beams and missiles until the end of the fight, and then we'll have escape. Oh, he hit me with the up spark. He's trolling. He doesn't like me. He's not happy with what I'm doing here.
Yep, and Hobbit is deliberately taking damage by running into Ravenbeak before the beam fight, because the beam does do a lot of damage.
Yeah, that beam is very, very chunky, and we only have 299 HP. So we do not want to get touched by that if possible. And now we've got Ravenbeak X and Escape.
Indeed, Ravenbeak has been merged with an X, but Samus has got a little special beam of her own now.
Now, I have a question for anyone who's watching. So we see that it's a big red beam, but what flavor is it? There's many good options. I hear strawberry, you know, I'm a big fan of black cherry for it personally.
Yeah, raspberry watermelon, both are very plausible.
Maybe it's more of a fruit punch, you know.
Maybe, you know, Samus's Metroid suit looks very watermelon-y.
Yeah, that's true. You know, she is looking very green and red. Ho ho. And now it's Escape. Once we get to the end of Escape, that will be time. So we are just gonna do what we can to escape before the planet blows up. Some fun trivia about Escape. There is one save room that is accessible with unrestricted glitches that you can get to and save in. If you save in Escape, it will actually just reset the timer. And you can even allow the timer to go past 0 and into the negatives, at which point it will start counting up. So we will just use Hyper Beam for everything. I'm getting trolled by the claw. And then drop down, drop down. Now we don't have space jumps, so that kind of makes the speed check that I'm going to try to do here a little harder, but you can still technically do it with Spin Boost, so I'm going to go for it once. Okay, I didn't get the jump off, that's okay. We're just going to go ahead and come down here, break these blocks, and then we're going to do the final morb.
The one last one. Oh no!
I'm such a buster, dude. I hit it too fast, but that's okay.
But you got the cinematic, that's what.
All right, so at the end of this room, it's going to be time.
Yep.
So once we hit the final cutscene, it will be time. It'll be right after the Shine Spark here. Oh, okay. Never mind. No Shine Spark. You got plenty of time. It'll be right here. And time. Gaming. Thank you, Manny, for joining me for commentary. Thank you, anyone who watched. Shout out to the Metroid Dread community. Love everyone who's a part of it. And I hope everyone enjoyed the run here. That was any percent, no persistence queue. That's pretty good.
Oh, that's really
pretty good. I was my goal was like, my stretch goal was sub-hour, so
yeah,
just over an hour with that mess of a cam lock, that's quite good.
That was really good. I had a general idea where you were. It was like really hard to. I caught one of the pause buffers that you did, and I was just like, oh shit. Like you caught that.
Yeah, because like last time I messed it up. So. Yeah. Plus I got the showcase bonus, which that's so new that like people just haven't really gotten to showcase it yet, you know. Thanks, man. I always like doing this, so I appreciate the time and the space. Thank you for watching. Thank you.
And SpongeBob. Yeah, my favorite Sonic area for it.
Yeah, thank you for asking.
Yeah, thank you. All right. I'll read some sorry, 1 second. Okay, we will be moving on to None 2-1. He will be doing a couple Sonic runs and a SpongeBob run. We'll get that set up shortly, but stick around. We'll be right back.